let's begin now with our breakout sessions. So I'll just introduce the presenters with the session so we don't take any time from them. So our first breakout session today is putting the I in AI, personalized language proficiency and academic writing development. And it will be presented by Ryan Phelan, Patrick Holmes and Filip Bigos from UNSW College. So thank you very much. Welcome.
Thanks,
oh,
Gazi.
breakout sessions.
Right.
Thank you. Did I say breakout rooms? Thanks, Gazi. Okay.
You didn't, but I just didn't want it. I just wanted to clarify we're
Thank
not doing
you.
the breakout rooms. So
I was every time I read that, I was like, oops, it's not rooms. It's just, automatic. Yeah, sorry.
yes.
How's it going? Should we share the?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Da, da, da.
Okay, perfect. All right,
Yep.
thanks very much for having us. So
Perfect.
I'm Patrick, Ryan is here, and Philip as well, and we're looking at how we've been using AI basically for academic English purposes, trying to make the learners as kind of autonomous as possible. So I'm going to talk first about kind of streamlining the learner support. Our challenge has been very limited class time for individual student feedback. Our course content is quite heavy. There's a lot of information to get through, and it's heavily dependent on teacher input. So we've been looking at ways, and I'm sure lots of people have been doing this as well, but how we can address individual grammar needs. We're finding everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. So we're looking at kind of personalized support and ongoing support and ways that learners can do this by themselves as well, especially in a context of, various levels. Well, they're essentially the same level, but with different strengths and weaknesses among them. So the way that I'll just start with one of the ways that I've been using AI, the sort of AI feedback process, having kind of scaffolded and done, all the input for an essay task, for example, we'll then have time in class to do a paper-based writing task. So, it might be a discussion essay, an argument essay, or something like that. And then when it comes time for conferencing of their work, I will I will have collected the paper-based writing. I'll give them that copy back. They'll take a photo of it, and they'll input that into the. We've been using ChatGPT, but into the AI, and I've given them a prompt in order to, so quite a detailed prompt to get feedback. So my prompt is normally about a page long, so including the structure of the essay and then all the different points that I want AI to kind of pick out. So it might be using topic sentences or different sentence types, grammar, formal language, that kind of thing. So the students will then review that feedback, and then they'll meet with me to verify and discuss kind of the accuracy of that feedback and how valid it is and anything else that they need to consider as well. So an extension task that we tended to do after that is for the students then to further edit their work, basically based on the teacher and AI feedback combined. This is just a very simplified prompt. As I said, it's much longer usually, but it will ask them to analyze an essay given a number of different areas. So things like linking language, connectors, grammar, tone, all of those types of things. And it's, combined with the teacher input, it's encouraging them to be more analytical and not kind of blindly accepting every aspect of the feedback they get. A follow-up task that's been really useful from a personalized kind of level for the students has been doing things like self-study, putting a prompt in, asking for grammar rules, and then creating short grammar quizzes with answers. So we've been doing that recently with students a few days ago. We're doing that with the passive form, but really with any element, articles, whatever it is they want to work on. So that's a really great way as well afterwards to do some further practice. And I'm often getting questions like, where can I get, extra practice in this kind of area, or what book can I get? This is a great way that they can do this kind of anytime and anywhere. So some of the benefits are that the students are becoming more autonomous as learners. They're able to evaluate the AI feedback more critically. And then my time as a teacher is also used more effectively in that by the time they come and see me, I can have a look and have a really strong overview of their essay before I even start reading it, and then deciding, exactly what feedback I think they should take, mostly from that. So it creates this kind of cycle of continuous and individualized learning as well. So just a little bit in terms of some of the feedback that I've had from some of the classes. So all of them have reacted really well in terms of using this tool basically to help us. And you can see some of the comments and things like that too, but things like good for sentences, structures, explaining my mistakes, and that kind of thing. I'll just include some of the data as well that I've collected around this, but overall, the majority of the students, about 56%, felt that they were becoming more kind of autonomous as learners through this. There were noticeable gains as well in terms of like form-focused areas, using more formal language and understanding grammar mistakes. So it's really great for that kind of thing. Fewer students, though, reported improvements in kind of higher order skills like organization or editing, but many found that AI was helpful in improving their essay structures. So about 89% were rating it as extremely or very useful overall in terms of just looking at the different parts of an essay, like at the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Were they following the structure and the plan that we had set up for them and scaffolded for them? So overall, it suggests that I think AI can provide lots of visible cues and scaffolding that support structural awareness and deeper writing development. So including things like planning and argument flow and critical editing and things like that, still really highly depend on teacher guidance for the students. So finally, I think it's a great reference, but the teacher input remains essential to ensuring that there's the accuracy and the balance across all the different aspects of writing in this case. And over to Philip. Thank you.
Sure, amazing. Thank you so much, Patrick. Really appreciate that. And it was actually my conversations with Patrick that kind of led me to develop my little process of how to use AI, particularly for language support. Because kind of as Patrick mentioned at the beginning, in the EAP world, lots of our students come here because their language is not quite good enough for university study. And as amazing as our courses are, we kind of tend to focus more on academic skills. So I was thinking, how can we actually, use generative AI to actually support learners' linguistic development? And so I kind of came up with this process, which starts with teacher feedback. So where we teachers look at students' output, be then writing, well, particularly writing, but I guess you could use it for speaking as well. We provide learners with prompts and this kind of teacher input in terms of what to focus on. And learners use this prompt in ChatGPT to generate control practice to help them work on their opportunities and their issues. And of course, it kind of finishes with reflection to kind of help them reflect on the whole process and kind of reinforce the learning itself. So I'm sure you'll probably get these slides later on, so you can kind of review all these steps. But just to maybe illustrate how this works. So here, for example, we have a sample of student writing. As you can see, I circled the word achieve in pink. I guess that's pink. And we can see this, the students clearly struggling with the use of the passive voice. So I circle this mistake. And I kind of label it. I give them a label like this is passive voice. And so what the learners do, they take this and they're also given a prompt. Now they're actually given two prompts and they use the label that I give them, aka passive voice, and they put it in here where it says identify the issue. And they use this prompt in, for example, ChatGPT, or they can also use Copilot if they want to. And what this gives them, it gives them a control practice task that's designed to help them work on the identified issue. Now, there are two prompts. So this is the second one. They're very, very similar. There are three differences. One being the level. So the first one is at Cepher B2, the second one is Cepher C1, so making it a little bit more difficult, moving from a non-academic to academic context. And we're also asking ChatGPT to provide a different type of task for some added variety. Now, once learners have done this, and once they've kind of practiced, Then they need to record their work. So I've been using this kind of language learning record with them, where in the green box, they put the issue that I had highlighted. They provide a sample of the prompt and some of the exercises that ChatGPT generated. And then they try to self-correct that original mistake, kind of providing that necessary feedback loop. And I've also been using a little kind of a Google feedback form, just kind of encourage them to reflect on the usefulness of this. And the final step that I've also kind of started implementing is kind of in-class follow-up. So, for example, the week after, when we get together, and for example, I'm delivering one-to-one consultation with students, I would usually nominate 2 or 3 students who have done this fairly well to actually explain the language point to the rest of the class, to show them how they use ChatGPT and to actually get the rest of the class to do these exercises. Therefore, kind of reinforcing the learning and also doing a bit of peer teaching as well. So far, I've done this with 3 different classes. I've managed to collect responses from 53 students. Looking at this feedback, overall, students do find it effective, and they feel like this is actually a process that is helping them and addressing the issues they need to work on. Of course, we can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a bit of a challenge around an opportunity around how challenging these tasks are, but it's exactly where I've kind of introduced the 2-step process to kind of work on that. But yeah, this is how I've kind of expanded on Patrick's ideas, and I'll just hand over to Ryan.
All right, thank you, Phil. So I've been sort of tackling the same sort of approach. I've been really focusing on specific skill development using these tools, prompts, but also using a chatbot as well that I'll show you. Also, I've been doing this in a small trial with a class I'm teaching that is made up of engineering students, where a big part of this course is that they need to deeply understand 2 core texts, and that has become something that I've sort of channeled this towards. So first thing I did is I did a student survey to get some ideas before I started planning. And they really seemed like they wanted a lot of practice with academic writing tasks as well as reading and listening. And they also highlighted that they really would appreciate examples and demonstrations of the use. So what I did was first I configured a chatbot. I did this in ChatGPT. To do this, you need to use a Plus account, and that way it's shareable with students. I built in the knowledge files the course material, which includes the 2 core texts that I just mentioned. I did this sort of as a dialogic process and then sort of tinkered with the prompt as it went, and I was getting some good output and some not so good output. So yeah, I would keep refining it with the help of the ChatGPT conversation. This is what the chatbot looks like. If you look up here, they can choose what skill they want to practice, the subject or theme they would like to work on. And this proved to be a really helpful thing because they could work on those language deficiencies through the content. So like I said, I have a lot of engineering, well, all engineering students, so they could work on a writing skill, let's say paraphrasing, but they could use it through the circular economy, which was the key topic of the term. They could choose the difficulty if they want to practice alone or with a friend. That's really about outside of class or inside of class. I did this a lot in consultations that we have. So on the Moodle page, I gave them a how-to guide and also a demo video of myself using the chatbot. I also did systematic demonstrations in class before they would use it. So that's the Moodle page. After they had their interactions, they would then post the their conversation links on the class forum. So this is just a quick example of how I've been running the writing. So they get AI feedback on their writing as well as teacher feedback. And together we highlight some sub-skills that they should work on for that week and the next week. So here we have paraphrasing and synthesis that this student has sort of decided together with the teacher what to work on. They reflect on that in a sort of metacognition exercise. And then they are given a prompt or they are given access to the bot like I just showed. This is an example of the prompt, and then they just replace that blue section with what skill they wanted to practice. So here we have complex sentences, and here we have written synthesis. And then the feedback loop goes back again. They think about what they've improved on and what they need to work on next. Here's the bot example, similar thing, complex sentences on the left and some listening on the right. Now for the listening and writing, the bot was programmed to ask the student if they have a link online they want to use. This was really helpful for things like TED. We often give them, we tell them to go to these sites online for help, but students often don't really know what to do with this. So this was a good way to connect the resources with the some task development. And then they put it into the forum. Very small scale, but the students really did seem to enjoy it. The key takeaways I would say is there was definite increase in learner autonomy that I have noticed. And yeah, clearer link between that language development and the course content. And once again, that was really helpful for me because engineering is not my area. So I could use this as a tool for them to really narrow down to the content itself and develop the language skills at the same time. And the final thing, the more demonstrations, the more the students really felt at ease with using it. And I think that's about all that we have. So yeah, thanks everyone. And if any questions anyone has for any of us, I'll stop sharing this.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit with time because we're in Adelaide, so we're half an hour behind.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's okay. I think you guys are right on time. That's actually really good. I do have a question before we continue. Thank you for the presentation. So it's interesting in the initial activity, you said the students were doing high writing activities, and then you you took a photo, Patrick, I think, of the students writing.
Yes,
So
that's right.
is the AI recognizing the writing well? Has it been
Yeah,
proved to be successful? Yeah.
it's pretty good. It's unless the certain words may be difficult for it to decipher, but I would say probably 99% of the time it does a good job. And the students, when we're doing the feedback, will say, look, you can see I wrote that word correctly and it's interpreted it this way. So really, it's really impressive, like how much it can just from a photo of a handwritten essay can sort of decipher the whole thing and give really great feedback in addition to what we can do.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think there's another question here as well. Patrick, mostly for Patrick, it says
Okay.
I
setting
just
up
read
writing
that,
tests. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Richard, and yeah, that's correct. Our writing assessments are paper-based anyway, so that is a pretty tightly controlled thing that we can manage. So yeah, it's not a big issue for us because we're kind of taking the use of the AI in the actual writing away, and then we bring it in after.
Yeah, I get them to
As
put
well.
all phones, laptops away when we do this task, because the other day we did a practice one and I noticed one of the students had a near perfect, in fact, a perfect essay, and they had somehow sneakily managed to use their phone or something to just write up an essay. So, but when we're doing it like this, it's basically practice in class. I told them there's no point in cheating or anything like that. They should be getting that feedback, and it will be helping them basically.
That's excellent. I think thank you for sharing. And this idea of teaching explicitly, AI explicitly, and teaching the students how to do it, I think it's really the way to go. So thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you.
And wonderful. Thank you. All right.